Welcome to the Covert Narcissism podcast. I'm your host, Renee Swanson. I am not a therapist, and you are not a victim. I did a couple of episodes here recently that had some snarky humor in them. If you missed them, they were Covert Narcissism 101 and 102, and it's the guidebook for the covert narcissist. These episodes were extremely well received, and I do completely understand that. Finding humor is a necessary part of our healing. As we realize the absurdity of the situations we're living in, just the ridiculousness of this, it is extremely freeing to be able to laugh about it. And I promise to bring more of that humor along the way. But we also need to look at the more serious side of what we are dealing with. That is a side that also needs to be recognized. You see, this type of abuse takes a very deep toll on you, on your spirit, your heart, your body. And it is crucial that we understand that. So today's episode is a quite bit more serious, and I do bring it to you with a heavy heart. Today's episode is not typical. It is a tribute, a celebration of life. It's a moment of reverence for one of our own, a member of this very community whose story ended too soon. And for her privacy, I'm going to call her Mary. But this is not only for Mary. This is for every one of you listening today who feels invisible, broken, worn down, uncared for, exhausted. Today we honor Mary's life, and we honor yours too. Welcome back to the Covert Narcissism podcast, where we hold space for the stories that the world too often overlooks and acknowledge the heartbreak, the courage, and the resilience of survivors. Mary was married for over 3 decades. She gave her entire adult life to her family. Very devoted to her husband, she raised multiple children, wiping away their tears, carrying sleepless nights, supporting special needs, and bore sacrifices that no one in her world fully recognized. She gave everything she had because that's who she was. But behind closed doors, Mary lived in a world of invalidation. Her husband dismissed her, blamed her, minimized her pain while adding to it on a regular basis. He was passive aggressive, manipulative, entitled, superior, all the things that brought Mary to search for a group on covert narcissism. Her story rang true with all the other stories that I hear about and that I listen to on a daily basis. Mary carried a profound sense of not belonging anywhere. This stood out to me in my conversations with her. She once said that she felt like she had no home. Her home of over 30 years was not a home to her. Her adult children's homes were not a home to her. She had no safe place to live, no safe place to even exist, much less to be her. Nowhere in her marriage, nowhere in her family, and often not even in her own body. She did not feel at home. She described herself as a nomad, wandering through life with no solid ground beneath her. This, too, is something that so many survivors understand. That deep ache of feeling unsteady in your own house, invisible in your own family, and even unwelcomed in your own skin. It's one of the cruelest legacies of covert narcissistic abuse, the theft of your home. Mary was isolated. She was sad. She was hurting. She was ungrounded. And her body was found, wandering without a home, with her loyal dog faithfully by her side. Her life deserves to be acknowledged. It deserves to be celebrated, and that acknowledgement must come from people who get it, from people who see her. See, Mary's life mattered. Her sacrifices mattered. Every tear she carried in silence mattered. Every time she broke down under the weight of dismissal, and every time she got back up again, it mattered. She was not weak. She was unimaginably strong. to endure year after year, to keep showing up for your children, to keep trying to survive inside a relationship that eroded her. This took strength, not weakness. Quiet, unseen, and misunderstood strength. The kind of strength that so many of you listening know all too well. Even though I only knew Mary through a Zoom screen, I could hear the love in her voice as she spoke about her children. Those children who, in their own pain and confusion, did not return that love to her. The love that she held for them remained steady, unshaken by rejection, and it poured out of her even as her heart was breaking. I saw the strength in her eyes as she showed up week after week, putting one foot in front of the other, her shoulders hunched under the invisible weight of life. She carried decades of heartbreak, disappointment, loneliness, and still she kept moving. That is what strength looks like. No one can convince me that Mary was weak. She was not weak. This is not weakness, this is strength. It's not the polished, picture-perfect strength that the world applauds. No, it's the raw, bone-deep strength that survivors carry every single day. Survivors like Mary are like candles in the dark, flickering, yes, but never extinguished. And their light may be so small, and it may seem so small, but it changes the entire room. They're like the trees standing in the middle of the relentless storms, branches bending, leaves stripped away, but the roots hold firm, refusing to break. And this is where I want to pause and acknowledge not just Mary, but you, the listeners, because I know many of you are carrying that same unseen strength. You keep showing up for children who misunderstand you. You keep giving love in households where it is not returned. You keep putting one foot in front of the other while carrying the weight of a life that seems impossible. That love that you carry, that strength inside of you, it matters. The strength you show even when no one sees it. The love you hold even under all the pain, it matters. Every time you choose to get up when you want to stay in bed, every time you bite your tongue to protect your kids from hearing the chaos, every time you take one small step toward healing, you are showing the same courage that Mary showed. Mary's life was a living testimony of endurance, sacrifice, and quiet love. And in honoring her, we honor you. Now, I want to pause here for a minute to acknowledge something that is rarely spoken out loud. Abuse does not just affect our hearts and minds. It affects our bodies too. The human body is not designed to carry decades of heartbreak, fear, dismissal, emotional heavy lifting without breaking down. Living under constant stress, walking on eggshells, keeping someone else happy in order to feel safe. This activates your nervous system over and over again. The cortisol, the adrenaline, the constant fight or flight, it wears you down. Cell by cell, it exhausts your immune system. It damages your cardiovascular system. It shows up as chronic health problems, autoimmune disease, migraines, gastrointestinal issues, high blood pressure, heart disease. And sometimes it shows up in something called broken heart syndrome. This is not just a poetic phrase, it's a real medical condition. Doctors call it stress-induced cardiomyopathy. The heart literally weakens under the weight of stress and grief. It mimics the signs of a heart attack, and it can be fatal. It's far more common in women who have endured years of emotional heartbreak. So please listen to the seriousness of the situation that we're in and the life that we're dealing with. This is why I say that abuse is life-threatening, and I mean it. The emotional toll is not separate from the physical toll. Your heartbreak becomes your body's breakdown. Your invisible wounds become very visible illnesses. And far too many lives, like Mary's, are cut short under the strain. Now, her family did not see her pain. They did not understand the toll that this was taking on her body, her heart, and her spirit. And now, in her death, I don't think they acknowledged the reality that she was living. That silence, that erasure, is one of the deepest wounds of covert abuse. That is why I make this acknowledgement, not only for Mary, but for every single man and woman who are living Mary's nightmare, for every survivor whose truth has been denied, whose story has been buried, whose life has been misunderstood. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be believed. And today we speak that truth out loud. So this tribute widens. Mary, we honor your life. And to everyone listening who feels invisible, broken, and unheard, this is your celebration of life too. To the one who cries alone in the car before walking into the house, I see you. To the one who stays awake at night so the kids don't hear your sobs, I see you. To the one who feels unwelcomed in their own home, uncomfortable in their own skin, wandering like a nomad, I see you. To the one whose body has broken down under the strain of carrying decades of emotional weight, I see you. And Mary sees you too. You are not crazy. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are courageous beyond words. Your sacrifices, your devotion, your very survival, they all matter. Mary's story reminds us of the urgency of honoring ourselves. She reminds us that we cannot minimize the damage of invisible abuse, that this pain is not just in your head, it is in your nervous system, it is in your heart, it is in your body. And yet, it is also in your power to begin reclaiming your life. If you're listening today and you feel like Mary, sad, scared, ungrounded, wandering, hear me clearly. You are allowed to stop playing this game. You are allowed to stop tying your safety to someone else's happiness. You are allowed to build a life where you are free, safe, and seen. And yes, you are allowed to come home, not to the place that erased you, but to yourself, to your body, to your truth, to your peace, to your home. So let's pause together, take a deep breath, and let's honor Mary. And let's honor you too. Let's honor every survivor who's out there listening right now, whose body has carried too much stress, whose heart has carried too much pain, whose spirit has carried too much silence. Mary, we honor you. Survivors, we honor you. Mary, this is your celebration of life. We speak your truth. We see your sacrifices. We remember your courage. May you find rest from the weight you've carried. May you find comfort in knowing your sacrifices were never wasted. May you find strength in the truth that you are not weak and you never were. May you find peace in returning home. Home to your own heart, your own body, your own truth. And may you know beyond a shadow of doubt that you matter. You always have. You always will. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. You have been listening to the Covert Narcissism podcast, where we break apart the insidious nature of these incredibly destructive and infinitely frustrating individuals. If you are caught up in this crazy-making relationship and drowning in self-doubt, guilt, or rumination, please reach out to me anytime. I offer individualized live coaching in both group and individual settings. We can find the right program for you. You do not need to go through this alone. You can find all of that information on my website at covertnarcissism.com. You can also reach out to me by email at Renee, RENEE, at covertnarcissism.com. I do look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. Remember, I am not a therapist, and you are not a victim. I am a coach, and you are a survivor. The information provided by Renee Swanson, Covert Narcissism Podcast, and CNG Life Coaching is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes. It is not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a healthcare provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. Renee shares stories from her personal experience as well as from those that she has worked with for several years. Her material does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support an allegation or support a claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and the information provided. Thank you.